Good morning. So glad you're with us this morning. I have a question for you. Where were you born? I bet many of you were born in Lubbock. Maybe some of you were born in another city, and maybe even some of you were born in another country. I was born in Pueblo, Colorado. And Pueblo, Colorado is in another state, and it is another city. And it'd be my guess that maybe you were born in a hospital. Maybe some of you were born in a house. But I got to let you know, my guess is that none of you were born in a barn where animals live. See, because that's not where babies are born, are they? Now, maybe baby cows and maybe baby horses or baby lambs are born in a barn, but not baby people are born in a barn. Unless your name is Jesus. My guess is that you probably know the story of Jesus's birth, and you realize that Jesus was born not where babies are usually born, especially not Jesus, the Savior of the world. What I want to do right now is I want to read the story of Jesus's birth. Here we go. It's in Luke chapter 2, 4 through 12, and it says this. So Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Bethlehem, to the city of David, because he belonged to the house of the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, baby Jesus. And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son, and she wrapped him in the cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no room in the inn. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over the flocks at night. And the angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Don't be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Today, in the town of Bethlehem, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Christ, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find the baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." Can you imagine how sad Mary was when she had to lay baby Jesus in a manger? Now you may be wondering, what is a manger? Well, a manger is a place where the animals go to eat their food, to eat their meals. That's what a manger is. And this was baby Jesus. And baby Jesus, one angel described baby Jesus as a savior, and yet he was put in an animal feeder. He was put in a manger. And the reason why is because there was no room in the inn. In the days of Jesus, an inn was like a motel or a hotel. It's like the places you stay when you go on a vacation, a motel or hotel. Sometimes you stay in places like that. But Joseph and Mary had planned to be in Bethlehem, and they were going to stay a few days. And then after they stayed, they were going to go back home. And what they thought is that they were just going to stay in an inn. But when they got to Bethlehem, there was no place in the inn for Joseph or Mary or the baby Jesus. And that's why Jesus was born in a barn and he was placed in a manger. And you realize that's no place for Jesus to be born, is it? Now Monty's going to tell us a little bit more of the story of Jesus and that there was no room in the inn for Jesus.
Well, of course, I don't know for sure, but my guess is that Jesus heard this story about how he was born in such an unusual way when he was a baby. I bet he heard that story over and over and over again in his life. Probably his brothers and his sisters sort of teased him a little bit from time to time about how different his birth was. They probably said things like, well, Jesus wasn't born like we were. Jesus wasn't born in an inn or in a house like the rest of us. He was born out where the animals live. He was placed in the manger when he was born. That's kind of weird, isn't it? I bet they sort of teased him like that from time to time. But you know what? Jesus really didn't care. I don't know if he cared as a boy, but when he grew up to be a man, he didn't care that there wasn't any room for him in the inn when he was a baby. What he cared about was whether or not there was room for him in the hearts of men and women, in the hearts of boys and girls just like you. When I say in the heart, here's what that means. You know how you love your mom and your dad, and you love your sisters and your brothers and your friends, and even love your pets, your dogs and cats and birds and fish. You know how you love them and they're important to you? Well, when you do that, you're really making room or a place for them in your heart. And that's exactly what Jesus wants. Jesus wants to be so important to you that you love him and that you trust him and that you want to be just like him. That when you do that, you are putting him in your heart. You're making room for him right in here. And when we do that, when you do that, and I do that, that makes Jesus so very happy. Now, talking about making room for Jesus in our hearts, Chris has some really important questions for all of you this morning.
Okay, kids, so I've got a question for you. Here's question number 1. Which of you enjoys the story of Jesus? If you like the story of Jesus, would you raise your hand? Good. All right, now here's question number 2. Which of you loves Jesus? Do you love him? Raise your hand if you love Jesus. And I've got another question for you. Do you trust Jesus? Can you find a way to turn to Jesus and to trust him in your life? As you get older, the more and more we grow together, the more we're going to learn to trust Jesus. And I want to encourage you now, at this young age, to start trusting Jesus, to start loving his stories, and to begin the process of loving him so much that you put him in your heart, that you put him in your life. You know, we have big hearts, and those hearts can be filled with lots of things. We talked about that earlier. Putting our animals in our hearts, putting our family members in our hearts, the things that we love. But I want you to think about loving Jesus so much that you would put Jesus in your heart. So we have kind of a way to think about that or to remember that in our lives, and that's it. You probably got a bag this week. Maybe you got it when you came to see Santa at sunset, or maybe you got it at your door. But likely you got a bag this week. And if you didn't get a bag, we're going to make sure that you get one soon. But this bag is filled with some different things. It's got some treats in it. I can open this up and show you. There's a little ring pop candy in there, but there's also something very special in here. See, in the bag there's a heart necklace. And you can take this heart necklace and you can put it on you. I don't know if you notice on the back there's a little button you can push, and that causes it to turn on, to light up, and you can also hit it again and it'll beat a different speed. It's really neat. But this heart necklace is designed for you to be able to put it on, and every time you put this heart necklace on, I want you to remember that you have opened your heart up for Jesus, that your love for Jesus is that big that you want to open your heart up to him. Once again, if you didn't get one of those, ask your mom and dad. They can give Sunset a call or swing by the church building, and we have more of these for you. But we want you to know how very precious you are, and the fact that we want you to begin the process of thinking about, what would it be like for me to open my heart up for Jesus? And every time you wear this, think about, I'm going to open up my heart for Jesus. Wasn't that a good story about Jesus today? And don't you want to open your heart up for him and make a special place for him, to give him a room in your heart so that he can live there and he can be there?
Once again, we are so thankful you joined us this morning. Like Bill said, you are precious to us. We miss you. We miss seeing you. We miss seeing your smiling faces. Well, you've heard maybe that we're going to be starting back our assemblies on January 10th, and we're excited about that, especially our opportunity to see all of you again. Hey, do us a big favor, bring your parents with you when you come, would you? We'd like to see them as well. Hey, we love you guys, and we'll see you January 10th. Bye-bye.